This is Nexxlegacy Radio. I am Brandon here with my guest, and it's going to be great to be able to have dialogue with her because I know she has a wealth of information to be able to share with all of us in regards to a lot of things, entertainment, business, and more. So I'm just going to read a quick bio on Frances Ann Soloman, a trailblazer in the film and television industry, and an award-winning filmmaker, producer, curator, and entrepreneur. She is the founder and CEO of the multifaceted Caribbean Tales Media Group, and I have Ann Soloman here on Nexxlegacy Radio. How you doing, dear?
I'm good. Thanks so much for having me. I'm absolutely excited to be here.
Well, I am glad you are here as well. And for the people out that hasn't gotten a chance to get to know you as far as all the work that you have done and continue to do. In addition to what I basically broke down for the listeners, tell us a little bit more about you as far as some of your accomplishments and recent accomplishments.
Okay, I'd love to. Well, I come from Trinidad and Tobago originally. That's where I grew up in the Caribbean. I started my career at the BBC in England, where I worked as a producer and executive producer in BBC films and single drama for a number of years, and produced feature films and movies of the week for the BBC. I'm a big champion of work by Black and people of color. It's what I've done my whole life. I'm the founder and CEO of a company called the Caribbean Tales Media Group, and that includes we do a pipeline of services in the screen-based industry. So we do film development, film and television development and production. We do training of BIPOC creators, producers, and below-the-line talent. We have 3 film festivals a year, which is the Caribbean Tales International Film Festival now in its 17th year, the Cinefam Film Festival for women of color creators now in its 7th year, and the Windrush Caribbean Film Festival that is based in the UK, that's now in its 3rd year. And finally, we do distribution of content by BIPOC creators and producers. So we have Caribbean Tales Worldwide Distribution, Caribbean Tales TV, which is our VOD platform, and we also have Black Market Releasing, which is our theatric brand. So that's just a little bit about me. I hope it's enough.
Well, it sounds like you kept yourselves extremely busy, and that's always good, especially in the field that you're in right now. And I think you and I both know this, and the listeners obvious too, the evolution of media, television, entertainment, everything you want to kind of put into that box it's grown, it's evolved, it's changed. A lot of people will say, hey, it's changed for the better because we have different varieties of opportunities out there. And some people will say it's changed for the worse because a lot of people have seen certain things be recycled for a long period of time. So what are your thoughts on just the evolution of television and media in general?
Well, I think it's definitely changed for the better, and I hope that change is permanent. The murder of George Floyd in 2 years ago heralded a big transformation in the film and television and media industries, as across most businesses worldwide, where finally voices of Black creators and producers and people of color generally are being welcomed and sought after. I'm not sure exactly what brought about that change. Some people, it might just be that it became the tipping point for a change that was long, long overdue. So I definitely think, I know for myself, there are opportunities now that never existed before. Now is our time. Now is the time for everyone to have their voices heard in this industry. And it's a very, very exciting time. Long may it last.
I would like to say also that is definitely the case. I feel like opportunity is important. It's needed for our men and women of color, our kids of color, just to be able to see a face and to connect with a specific idea that they may have had that may be inspired by someone of color that is active in this business. And I think it's necessary. Also, I think when it comes down to it, just from just either your perspective or for what you have seen and experienced over the years, that variety is still there, but people just have to look for it as well. Is that correct?
Variety is there, but people have to look for it. I'm not sure what you mean. Tell me, what do you mean?
Well, when it comes to just different, let me put just opportunity as far as in the film industry, right? There's, a lot of people are looking for, or, there's different comedians out there. You have to look for the right variety. There's different, producers or production opportunities out there. You just got to find your niche and find what fits you and excel in that. I think a lot of people sometimes find that there's only one channel when there's multiple channels of opportunity out there in different spectrums of music and film and things like that. As far as that goes, that's pretty much where I'm putting it into as far as that perspective.
Yeah, for sure. That's absolutely true. The media industries are exploding. I think the bottom line is that people want to see content more than ever. There's a great hunger to see different kinds of content. Whereas before, I think what was available in the media was controlled by certain brands. Now with streaming platforms and the accessibility of content online, you can basically find anything that you are,
right,
that suits your fancy. And yeah, in terms of opportunities in the media, for sure, there's lots of scope for people to build careers in this industry because, like I said, the appetite is there for the media, so they keep punching. The businesses that produce media keep creating it.
The misconception or the thing that I think a lot of people always talk about, and Soloman is my guest on Nexxlegacy Radio, is people always talk about, well, you have to put in these X amount of hours in school in order for you to be able to get a degree, in order for you to be able to get this opportunity with this job or whatever the case may be. Now, school is super important. It's important to me. It's important to a lot of other people out there and in general. But while you're in school or studying, or while you're doing certain things to be able to study your craft, you still can be able to put in some work out there in this business without having that. You have to have a degree in order for you to be able to be seen. And I think you made a point of, we have so much out there for people to consume now. You can still be heard and still get an education at the same time, right?
Well, I think, what do I think about that? I think that the media industries are very skills based. It's a very technical medium. It's a technological medium. So a lot of the jobs that are available that are done in the industry are highly skilled jobs. You have to be trained to be able to do them. There's no question of that. Right. But I also feel that these are skills that are not necessarily acquired in a classroom.
Right.
I feel like a lot of these are on-the-job skills. So myself, personally, this might be a controversial thing to say, I feel that the most important thing is to get on-the-job training. And you can do that through shadowing, through getting that first gig where you're volunteering to be on a set, from and build your skills from there. There's no question that it's a highly skilled, very technically complex and technological business. That goes without saying. And it takes a lot of experience in the media to be able to function at that high level. But like I said, it's not. I don't believe these are skills that are imparted in the classroom.
I agree, and I don't think it's controversial for this reason. You're never going to know what it's like until you're literally in the line of fire, And I think absolutely right when it comes to education. To me, education now is you want to you want to get 5, 10 degrees. That's great. Do what you have to do, but I think even because I have 2, and the 2 that I have didn't set me up for the situation or positions that I'm in now as far as acquiring or getting certain things. So I'm not saying I didn't need it to achieve it. It was just there for my own motivation and my own stimulation when it comes to that. But you're absolutely right. On the job training and being able to handle live situations and scenarios is very, very important. With Ann Soloman being my guest on Nexxlegacy Radio, with you having some time in, outside of the country, obviously, with different shows, what's the difference that you've seen, I guess you could say, between producing and directing shows in different countries compared to what's in the United States?
I don't know that there is a whole lot of difference at the moment because I feel like the media industries are a global business, and the streamers are showing that that audiences are global. So I feel like I'm not sure that I think that a lot of the business aspects have become globalized. I don't think there's that much of a difference in the industries. I will say, for example, that in Canada, which is where I live, the business is very unionized. So it's very, very unionized. It's much more unionized than it is in England or in South Africa or in the United States, that are other countries that I've worked in. That means that in some ways it's harder to break in, and in some ways it makes sure that people that sets are safe, that people have benefits, employees have benefits, and that there are rules and regulations to how things get done. That can be a huge benefit for those working in the business, but it can be also an obstacle to getting in and getting things done, if you understand what I mean.
What would those obstacles be?
Well, I mean, personally, I find that sets that are unionized take longer to become diverse.
Right.
That's one thing. The other thing is that the union regulations tend to protect the members, and if the members are not diverse, then it keeps out people who are not members. That is changing. It's also the case that businesses that have a lot of money, like commercial businesses, car companies, big studios, will be able to work better within a unionized environment than small independent producers who perhaps don't have the initial funds to be able to meet all the union regulations. So highly regulated can also exclude innovation in some cases. Yeah, it's true.
Okay.
So, I personally came up in an industry in England that was unregulated, that was was very white male dominated, but was unregulated. The only way I was able to come up in that industry was because I was able to do things by any means necessary. I was able to make my way through it by just doing whatever I had to do in order to get things done. And that's how I developed my skills. That's how I built my business. That's how I built my career. So if that had been a unionized, in fact, there were unions, for example, within the BBC that really worked hard to keep out people of color.
Wow.
So I had to work outside the BBC in order to really get people in, bring in people of color, work within the limits of the budgets that I had, because they were doing everything. So there are pros and cons. I'm not saying there's anything that I mean, I'm all for workers having rights and having great conditions for work, but it's got to be everybody, and there has to be room to let in new people, and they have to be able to, they have to be able to make their way up that ladder without too much obstruction, and even young white people coming into the business can find that it's difficult to, when there's 10 or 12 levels of traineeship that you have to go through. It takes 20 years to get that head of department role. Whereas if you're doing it outside of the union system, you just do it. For example, Silicon Valley, those CEOs, they just started their businesses at the age of 19. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
They didn't ask anybody's permission, and they didn't, they didn't have to go through 15, 20 years of training or traineeship levels. So I think I think there are pros and cons, and we have, for me personally as an entrepreneur, I think it's really important as an entrepreneur of color, as a woman of color entrepreneur, it's really important for me to be able to sometimes cut through the obstacles just to get what I need to get done, because the world is not on my side, right? Then it's my responsibility. Business is not on my side. Then it's my responsibility to make sure that people who work with me feel valued, feel respected, feel like they have a place in the world. And I have to do that regardless of the unions, regardless of whether, bad treatment and abuse happens within a unionized system as within an ununionized system,
Right. Wow, this is good information. And I love this because, a lot of what you're saying is literally, how it is sometimes. It's especially when it comes from a different person or a perspective. It makes me think, because you're absolutely right. I mean, there is the obvious, both sides to, what people would prefer or whatnot. But I think when it comes to certain situations like this, and especially in this case of, of persons with color, the obstacles are a little bit hard, and it brings me to my next question. With Ann Soloman, my guest on Nexxlegacy Radio, and I came up during the age and times where we had analog. This is way before digital, way before internet, really, and way before opportunity came for a lot of us. But being a black male myself, a lot of people in this industry have always told me that hey. I'm trying to get this role, but they've preferred only for me to, act a certain way or be this particular person, or, a lot of persons of color, men and women and kids for that matter, have been typecasted to a point.
Exactly.
Even though we have all these opportunities, all these different things going on throughout the world, typecasting is still out there, right? I'm sure you've seen it.
Absolutely. I mean, there's got to be a way for new voices to come through all the time, and I hope that the revolution that is happening is facilitating, not just new voices, but a multiplicity of voices, a multiplicity of talent. We have to find the right way of allowing anybody access to fulfill their dreams while being productive in society. regardless of where they come from, what class, what abilities they have, what color their skin, what gender identity they have. That has got to be the goal. And the systems that exist are not perfect, and we have to keep a very clear eye on that all the time. And the current emphasis on voices by people of Black people and people of color, that we don't want that to be a fad. We have to demand that we have a right permanently, and that is going to be the challenge going forward.
And that's going to continue too. That's going to be an ongoing thing, because from the obvious obstacles that was faced by persons of color, they're still going to be first Black or person of color to do XYZ. And this business has been going on for decades on decades, and it's still going to continue to. And I think, and in my opinion, and you've been in the industry, so you can tell me if this is, factual. I mean, we just said earlier, just a second ago, that we still have to continue to keep breaking down barriers. That's going to be forever through our next generation and the generation after that and beyond that, right? It's not just going to end or, everything, we're all going to hold hands and be fine this generation. No, it's going to take a longer time and a longer period of consistency in order for us to be able to continue to break barriers in this business.
Absolutely. And I mean, what is also very, very shocking to understand is that there are a lot of people in the world who still don't think that there was any problem before, or that we should really have a voice now.
Right.
That hasn't gone away. If anything, we're seeing that ugly monster rearing its head across the world even more. They were quiet before because they weren't being threatened. But I think the whole, the forces of white nationalism, of fascism, of war are alive and well, and ready to stomp on innovation, on diversity, on humanity, in order to, just in the interest of power, right? So it's a very, very scary time, as well as a time of great opportunity. So I don't know really what's going to happen. It could go either way, but it's a battle. It's a battle that we have to fight every day. And we can't be complacent,
It is. You're absolutely right. And Soloman, my guest on Nexxlegacy Radio. And before I talk a little bit more about what you're doing now and some of, either your projects or future projects or whatnot that you're working on, what does this mean to you? I think this was a quote. I mean, it's been out there everywhere, but it's, and I think this can pertain to a lot of how we go about our business, but also how we go about our personal lives. When you hear this, and basically what I'm going to put out there is, we are all living in cages with the door wide open. When you hear me say that, what makes you think about, or what comes to your mind when I say that?
I feel like I don't know. I mean, myself, I'm in terms of my spirituality, I'm sympathetic to Buddhism, and I feel that that is a path that encourages people to look inward for happiness.
Yes.
I mean, at the end of the day, we are human beings. We're going to die. We were born and we're going to die. We have an opportunity to live our lives in a way that is in line with positivity and that supports the planet and the life that we live alongside, or we can do the opposite and be driven by our egos, believing that we have to achieve something or be better than somebody. So I feel like the liberation that at the end of the day, the liberation that we have the opportunity to achieve comes from within, and perhaps that is what I thought when you said that we can believe that there are all these obstacles, but at the end of the day, the person who is keeping us imprisoned is ourselves, and we need to go inside and really look at ourselves and find our liberation there.
You're 110% right, and I always throw something out there as far as for you or for the listeners out there, just because I always feel like if we're having a conversation about anything evolution, not just for our people, but for any and everyone in general, especially nowadays, it's just like options. There's so many options out there, but sometimes it's okay if you align yourselves with the people that's going to continue to help you grow and you're comfortable. Sometimes it's okay to be comfortable, but it's also sometimes okay not to be. In those not to be situations, or situations where if it comes to either education, or if it's you mentioned on the job training, or doing something that you want to challenge yourself to do and stick with it and stay consistent. And do not put yourself in a box where you can't get out of. And if you have the opportunity to do it, and the door's wide open for you to take it, AKA all these opportunities, then do it. Full steam ahead, right?
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. I completely agree with that. The only person, on this journey of life that we really have to battle with is ourselves, and that involves making choices in our own interest. 100% agree.
Absolutely. And Soloman is my guest on Nexxlegacy Radio. And what projects do you have that you can actually be able to tell the listeners, and talk about a little bit as far as what you have working, either that you are finishing or that you will be working on in 2022 and beyond?
Oh, we have so many projects that we're working on. In terms of productions, I'm blessed to be able to be working on a film project called In the Black, which is about the 12-year journey of Jamaican entrepreneur Denham Jolly to start Canada's first Black radio station, 93.5, that launched the careers of Greg, Michimi, and many other breakout stars. So that's something that's coming later this year. We've got another story about his early life in Canada, which is about he came to Canada in 1955, where he stayed at the rooming house of a woman called Violet Williams, who was the leader, the lady president of the local Marcus Garvey Association, the United Negro Improvement Association. I don't know if you know who Marcus Garvey was. He was an amazing Jamaican leader who kind of, took Harlem by storm in the 1920s. His motto was, "The new Negro has no fear." That was one of them. And many other amazing things he said that were way before his time. But very few people know that he had a great presence in, after he was kind of evicted from the United States on a range of trumped-up charges, he had a great presence and effect in Canada. I'm making a film about U.S. UK communist Claudia Jones. Claudia Jones was a Trinidadian woman who was deported by the McCarthy era in the 50s to the UK, and she started the UK's Notting Hill Carnival. That was one of the things she did, among many others, but she was an incredible woman. We've got so many amazing projects in development. I'm also doing 2 amazing training programs, one for Black entrepreneurs. It's a 9-month training program for 45 Black entrepreneurs, and one for women of color creators. And we've just launched our theatric brand, Black Market Releasing. So busy time. Yeah.
And you know what? I love the fact that you continue to stay busy. And I said it earlier, and I'll say it again. The fact that you are not just staying busy yourself, but you are embracing education on all levels for other people of color is amazing, and other people that is not people of color is learning and understanding. And to me, I think it's a great testament to your drive. You've been doing this for a long time, so you know that with changes and things like that that's going on all over the world, a lot of certain things are still stagnant, and there's room to grow, and there's room to be able to go up different levels. And the fact that you're still being able to do this for the people is a great thing. And I have to definitely make sure that I give you a lot of credit where credit's due. So, and with that being said, where can they find you, from the websites to social media to everything that you would like to promote in regards to bringing our listeners over to you, and then beyond that? So where can they find you?
CaribbeanTales.org, CaribbeanTales.ca. Caribbean Tales Festivals is our events brand. Caribbean Tales Worldwide.com is our worldwide distribution brand. Caribbean Tales TV is our VOD. Black Market Releasing CA.ca is our theatric brand. The Windrush Caribbean Film Festival.ca is our UK festival brand. Cinefam.ca is our women of color brand. And FrancisAnnSoloman.com is my personal brand.
And you heard this young lady. She has 50 million jobs and 50 million brands and 50 million websites for people to go into, but the steadfast remains the same. I just get this from you, just from this time. It's just, I love how determined you are. You sound determined. You are active, and I respect it. And the fact that you're doing this with extreme, humble nature, willing to help others, is the reason why businesses should be here. It's not just for profit, right?
Exactly. It's what all of us, growing and living our best lives.
Absolutely. And in closing, I'm going to give you the floor. If you want to send a hello and a shout out to, or before I have you do that, let me ask you a music question real quick. So we play a lot of music on our station also, but what is currently in your playlist right now? What are you listening to, or what do you like to listen to in terms of music?
I have very eclectic taste. I would say that the music that I listen to is Black music from all over the world. And I love everything from South African jazz to hip-hop to calypso and reggae, which, of course, those are my home brands.
Right.
I'm amazed, continually elated by the different ways that we have of expressing ourselves, all of us who originally came from the African continent. It's such a powerful, powerful, foul testament to the resilience of Black people. So that's what I'd say for that.
And that's good. Diversity is great, especially in terms of anything really, any genre, anything. Period. It's great that we do have that. And again, that's what I mean when I say it's you don't have to live in a cage. You have the doors wide open for you to go through, and that's self-expression. And music is definitely that too. So give some hellos and shout outs to whoever you would like to. The floor is yours.
Well, I guess I would like to acknowledge the women who are my role models. I'll start with my mother, who is Anne Marie Stewart, and she always listened. She's a great listener, and she taught me the value of the power of deep listening as a tool for liberation. I'll shout out to Ava DuVernay. She is another role model of mine. She's younger than me, but what she's been able to achieve again through doing and sharing and promoting other people. She herself is an artist. She promotes other people. She lifts up other people in a way that I have never seen before. And seeing the way that she operates across lots of different screen-based media as a distributor, as a producer, it echoes what I do and kind of affirms me. I'll also do a shout-out to one of my mentors, Leonie Forbes, who's an incredible Jamaican actor who has worked with me over the past 30 years on different films. And, she's always inspired me with the focus and the power of her art as an actor. So those are the three people I think I'd lift up right now.
Very good. Very good. Very powerful. And wow, this has been great. And Soloman is my guest on Nexxlegacy Radio. And in closing, before I let you go, I want to not just thank you, but continue to keep pushing the envelope for not just for yourself and your evolution, but also your passion for helping others. And that's the one thing, as I said earlier, the one thing that we should always do when it comes to our own development is, obviously you want to clean up your own house before you can help somebody else clean up theirs or whatnot. So you want to make sure you take care of self first and, have that gift to be able to give back to others and, help strangers. It's always easy when you can be able to help family members and things like that too. But, take a stranger aside and find a way to be able to lift him or her up. And, if people keep continuing to do that, I think this world would be as chaotic as it is. It can still be a great opportunity throughout the world for people to be able to have that as well.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for having me. Have a wonderful day.